Hey everybody. So I'm super excited. I know that it's been a while since my last video that I've put up here on YouTube, but I wanted to make sure that I had everything done and ready. Sorry it's taken so long, but as of this last week, Bonneville Motor Works is now officially online. It is an apparel store that you can go and purchase apparel through Shopify, and you can find us at BonnevilleMotorWorks.com. I wanted to take a few minutes to let you guys know exactly what's happened over the last few weeks and really talk you through what's kind of changed for me with regards to the brand and the company and what I've been doing with it, and also kind of setting the stage for what I want to do with this in the future. There has been a lot of growth and a lot of transition for me and for what I think the goals of this company ultimately are going to be. Over the course of the last month and a half or so since I posted our brand launch video with the Porsche out at the Salt Flats. If you haven't seen that, you should probably go back and see it because it's pretty cool. So I want to take just a few minutes and walk you through kind of what's happened in the last few months and really take some time to shed some light on some of the struggles that I have gone through, some of the difficulties that I've had in getting this brand started, and also share some of the successes and let you know exactly where I'm at now and what I'm looking to do. So starting from the beginning, I, back in 2021, purchased the brand domain, the domain name from GoDaddy for BonnevilleMotorWorks.com. It was 11:30 at night. I was living at my mother's house and knew that I wanted to start a company at some point in the automotive space. I had no idea what that was going to look like. I didn't know if it was going to be a YouTube channel. I didn't know if it was going to be starting a garage. I didn't know if it was going to be me just flipping cars and happen to attach the name to an LLC. But I knew that I wanted to do something in the car space, and I knew that this name, Bonneville Motor Works, for me, was something that resonated with where I'm from, Utah, home of the Bonneville Salt Flats. And it really captures a lot of that nostalgic, old kind of feel from an old, like, garage type company. So, first things first, I bought the name. I knew that I wanted to do something, but I had no idea what it was. Fast forward now 3 years, we get into 2024, and now I'm here. April of this year, being 2024, I made the decision to take the name, take the domain, and take some inspiration that I had from other companies that I've seen here in Utah, that I've seen online, and I really wanted to try and find a way to take my idea and put it into this name, put it into the domain that I already had. So for me, I absolutely love vintage cars. I have owned several of them. My very first car was a 1962 Ford Galaxy. For everyone who doesn't know what that car is, it's Andy Griffith's police car. And for those of you who don't know who Andy Griffith is, you have Google, you can go look it up. But I've had a 1962 Galaxy, 1965 Mustang. I've had several MX-5 Miata NA bodies, the old flip headlight Miatas. I have a very long list of cars that I have owned. And right now, I have a 1968 MG Midget that I'm currently working on restoring in my garage. And I'll be sharing some videos of that, hopefully, with you guys down the line. But I've always been inspired and loved vintage cars. Going to shows, going out to the Salt Flats, going to any type of event that I can, walking down the street and just taking a video on my phone of something cool that I see. It's always been a passion for me. And for me, the way that I wanted to build this company in particular was to, one, find my way into the vintage car community in a way that I felt was going to be creative, in a way that I felt was going to be unique to me. And I wanted to do it in a way where I felt I got to share some of my personal joy and some of my personal feelings about old cars. And that's really what I started with for the idea for the company. So in April, I bought the LLC. I set up the domain, and I knew that my next step was going to be, what am I going to sell? If you have a company and you don't have a way to make revenue, or you don't have a way to be able to meaningfully put things together and actually make a living at it, it's not much of a company. So for me, I really wanted to find a way to bring together my love of the old cars, bring together my love of being artistic and creative, and ultimately this is the platform that I've landed on. So I wanted to have a YouTube channel where I can kind of document my story, kind of document the growth and the changes that I have within the company, but also take the time to be able to talk to you guys, because ultimately the most important thing for me when it comes down to old cars, and the reason that we care about old cars in the first place, everyone has a story. Every single person has a story about an old car. Whether it was your grandpa's car, whether it was your friend's dad's car, whether it was your best friend's brother's car, or whether it was one that you owned. I know that for me, I have dozens and dozens of stories about cars that I've owned, about cars that I have cared about that other people have owned, and just knowing that you can talk to anybody about a car and really get to know a little bit more about them. That's the community that I really want to be a part of, and that's a part of the community that I want to share. So for me, I want to be able to use the YouTube channel and use the brand to be able to tell stories. So that's kind of a precursor to what this ultimately is going to become, is a storytelling channel, an interviewing channel, where I find people with interesting cars and interesting stories and find a way to bring them and publish them here on YouTube for you and for the community that likes to hear stories. The other piece of it for me is that I had some real excitement over the course of the last few months looking at another company here in Utah. Most people have probably heard of them at this point, 8080. They raffle off and sweepstakes off dream cars. Mind you, I can't afford a Lamborghini, I can't afford a Ferrari, I can afford my 1968 MG Midget that's currently in my garage. So the idea for me was, how can I build a grassroots brand that's going to allow me to be able to share my love of old cars, to be able to build a community of people that also love old cars and want to share their stories, and use those stories and use that love of old cars to be able to actually give back to that community in a way where they can win old cars. So my three-phased approach is, phase one, have an apparel brand where people can actually buy really cool apparel that doesn't look like it came out of a car show. That's one of the things that has been the biggest stickler for me, is every single car shirt that I've owned for the last several years looks like it came from a car show, and it's a smattering, and it's a bunch of stuff on a shirt that doesn't quite have a focus. The stuff that I've been designing is a little bit more focused, a little bit more artistic, and it kind of shares some of my ideas around what I think is fun and cool, and kind of gives a new take on these old vintage cars. The second piece of it for me is build a community. Find a way to be able to start speaking to people and hearing their stories and sharing it with the world. And as more people hear those stories, hopefully we build a bit more of a following. And as we start building a following, we start being able to sell more apparel. And as we sell more apparel, we're able to use that money to get to phase three, which is buy a car. So the first thing that I'm wanting to do with the revenue that I'm starting to generate from this company is to reinvest it back into a car, a vintage car, an old car of some sort, and I want to give it away. I want to give it to you guys. So finding a way to be able to start building this channel and figuring out how I'm going to start marketing and figuring all these things out, that's the journey that this whole thing is here for. I'm going to take you guys with me step by step on the way through what it is that I'm doing, what I've done, why I'm doing it, the decisions I'm making, and really have you guys learn with me along the way as I'm building this company from absolutely nothing. So I'm really excited about it. I really am looking forward to having that first car. It may even be the MG at this point, but having a way to be able to give someone else an opportunity to have a part of that story and to be able to tell that story through something that they care about, that's why I want to be here. I want to create really cool stuff. I want to be creative in my design and in my videos and in my storytelling. But ultimately, I want to be able to build a community that allows me to associate with people who care about old cars, and I want to be able to give back to the people who want to be able to share those stories. So that's kind of the why behind the company. That's kind of the aspirations for what I see for Bonneville Motor Works. And over the course of the next several months, I'll be putting out videos and I'll be trying to communicate better with the people that are trying to follow and support me and taking you on the journey. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this first little part of the story, and I'll put out a video a little bit later this next week that's going to really highlight the actual company where it's at now. So I'll take a few minutes to, in the next video, explain exactly how I have my whole organization set up, how I'm doing the apparel, how I'm drop shipping, how I'm navigating the sales processes, and that everything that I've built to this point. After that, it's a clean slate. I'm really excited to take you guys on the journey and show you exactly what I'm doing. And if you like old cars, if you want to see some of the stories that we end up building and see where this company ends up going, I'd appreciate it if you guys could like and subscribe, follow our channel, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook. Right now, we're local in Utah. The goal down the line is to be able to scale this across the country and hopefully around the world. So thank you for watching, and until next time, I'm Nick, and welcome to the channel. Welcome to Bonneville Motor Works.